श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः उकारो अन्धकारो वैरुकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवांसस्तनूभिः विषेमदेवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्ताक्षो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So we are studying Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad, the one and only Upanishad which talks about the syllable Om, what is meant by Om. And the whole analysis is done in this Upanishad. And we are looking into these mantras of Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad. And Omkaraha means Akaram, Ukaram, and Makaram. A, U, M, all together Om. So every syllable, every word represents meaning. And we are analyzing what is that Akaram, what is that Ukaram, and what is that Makar. In our tradition, to unfold the subject matter, we approach different ways. We call it in Sanskrit Panchakosha Viveka Prakriya, by analyzing the 5 sheets which are having in our human body. 5 sheets, Panchakosha Viveka, discrimination regarding these 5 sheets. Here, Avasthatraya Prakriya. What is Avasthatrayam? We have 3 different states going through our body. From the waking state only, we analyze other 2 states. The other 2 states are dream state and deep sleep state. For waking state, in Sanskrit, we say Jagrata Avastha. And for the dream state, we say Supna Avastha. And for the deep sleep state, we say Sushupti Avastha. The word Avastha, the very word state itself shows that it's temporary. Any state is temporary. In practical, if you analyze whether it is happiness, a state of happiness, a state of unhappiness, a state of some other emotions, it's all temporary. So the very word state itself shows that these are all temporary for a human body, not only for human body, for any body in this country. We already analyzed these three states elaborately in our previous classes. One who appears making the subject-object division and perceiving all the things externally in the waking state is called Vishwaha or Vaishvanara. As an individual, I am familiar with the waking state. In the waking state, there is a subject-object division. I see different objects and I enjoy different objects and I keep all the impressions of the experiences I have gone through in the waking state. These are all done by an entity who is sentient and he gets a name called Vaishvanaraha. When it is appearing in the waking state, it's called Vaishvanara. After enjoying various objects in the waking state, it folds all its sense organs. And just mind will be active. And all the impressions, all the vasanas, all the experiences, all my ambitions in the form of thoughts becomes subjects and become also the division between subject and object. So, in the modulation of thoughts, all the things I experienced in the waking state will appear inside the mind in the form of thoughts only. And I enjoy all these things without depending any external organs. There the object, the perceiver of the object and the perception, all the things will be inside the mind only. Then it's called Swapna Avastha or dream state. We already analyzed properly what is dream. And we entered into the deep sleep state, Sushupti Avastha. Where everything get merged without losing its characteristics. Whatever experiences I have gone through in the waking state, whatever experiences I have gone through the dream state, everything get merged. There is no subject-object division. Everything is enveloped in the ignorance. Under the cover of ignorance, there is an absence of knowing anything externally or internally. There is no division, so that there is a sensation of as though happiness. In fact, it's not happiness, it's an absence of worries and sorrows, because not knowing is the property of Sushupti, Jagrata Avastha. I wake up with a sentence, I happily slept for 5 hours without knowing anything. So, without knowing anything is the characteristic of our deep sleep state. And everything will be under cover of ignorance. Without losing its characteristics, each and everything will be enveloped by the ignorance. So that when I wake up, I will be recovering my memory, and I will be thinking about the booked ticket which I have to go day after tomorrow. That's why I told you everything will be merged without losing its characteristics. This is called deep sleep state. So, in the dream state, the person, the entity, which is sentient, which is enjoying all the things experienced in the waking state in the form of thoughts, just in the form of thoughts and impressions and experiences, that person is called Taijasaha. In the waking state, that entity got the name Vishwaha or Vaishvanaraha. The same entity which is sentient when it appears in the dream state, he got another name called Taijasaha, illuminant one. Then, in the deep sleep state, the same entity, without having any difference from the deep sleeps, from the dream state and waking state, the same entity, when it appears in the deep sleep state, then it will get a name called Prajnaha. These are all technical names, and it have a grammatical explanation for everything. Because few people are attending as beginners in this class, I don't want to give more elaboration and more confusions. Just understand how it flows with a brief explanation of Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad along with its kārikā. Each and every word will have grammatical explanation. For example, Vishwaha or Vaishvanaraha, Taijasaha, and also Prajnaha, Prakarshena Ajnaha. Not knowing anything due to the ignorance or due to the absence of division. There is no division between subject and object. I don't see anything in the deep sleep. So, he is called Prajna, the same entity. And the deep sleep state will be Cheto Mukaha. It's explained by commentator, This will be the opening door for other two states. From the deep sleep state, we wake up with all the merged ideas which are kept under cover about the waking state and the objects appeared in the waking state. And also whatever dream I have gone through, whatever ambitions I am having, everything will flow from the deep sleep state when I wake. So it's called Cheto Mukha. In the Upanishad mantra, that word is called Cheto Mukha. The, the, the outlet for other two states. After going through these three states, the priority is not to study about the states. The priority is to study who is appearing invariably through all these three states. This is the center subject of the Upanishad. Who is appearing without having any change? In spite of all the experiences happening in the waking states, in the waking state, in the dream state, and also in the deep sleep, somebody without changing, without having any kind of contact with all these experiences occurring inside these three states, is untouchable, ever pure. What is that entity? This is the main topic of the Upanishad, which we also saw in the last class as the sixth mantra, which I will read for brushing up and we will continue. Eshaha Sarveshwaraha, Eshaha Sarvajnaha, Eshaha Antaryami, Eshaha Yonihi, Sarvasya Prabhava Apyayau, Hi Bhutanam. Once more I will read, which we have gone through in the previous class. Eshaha Sarveshwaraha, Eshaha Sarvajnaha, Eshaha Antaryami, Eshaha Yonihi, Sarvasya Prabhava Apyayau, Hi Bhutanam. This entity, which appears in the form of consciousness in each and every body, whether it is an insect, whether it is an animal, whether it is a fish, or whether it is a human being, the one and only entity which appears and go through all these three states, that entity is Sarveshwaraha, all-knowing, Sarva Ishvaraha, one who is capable of handling all these creations in terms of knowledge, in terms of power. He have the power to create the entire universe. We are not studying a religion, correct? We don't belong to any religion. There is only one religion when we are together. It's not a dogma or a preach. We are talking about the fact, that fact which appears in each and every human body, in the entire creation. He is almighty, all-knowing, Sarva Ishvara, Sarvanam, Sarva Jantunam Ishvara. Ish Palane, capable to protect, capable to support everything, Sarveshwara. This entity is not a simple human being. This is the all-knowing entity. Sarvajnaha, that's called all-knowing. Sarveshwaraha, almighty. And Eshaha Antaryami, who resides in every living being and every insentient things. Antaryami. Not only in the sentient living beings and also in the insentient, inert things. That's why we have respect to the entire creation. The Upanishad unfolds a fact that there is nothing other than this entity in the world. Whatever names and forms we deal with, everything is one and only this Brahman or this conscious being. So, Antaryami, who resides in each and everything, in spite of religion, in spite of caste, in spite of species, everything is nothing but this entity which is called conscious Brahman. We are going to see more. Antaryami, who resides in each and every living being. Eshaha Yonihi. We already saw the place of origination of everything. Eshaha Yonihi. From which everything comes outside. Entire creation came outside, from which that consciousness is residing in the form of an individual. And also, Sarvasya Prabhava Apyayav, the door of opening of the creation, the door of merging of the creation, unto which everything get merged and from which everything originates. That conscious entity has gone through all these three states. Really speaking, that consciousness which appears inside a human body, not only in the human body, in each and every living beings and also in the inert things. But the teaching is for a listener who is listening Vedanta or Upanishad, correct? So formally we say individual. One who is residing inside this individual or in this human body is this sentient consciousness who is all pervading, all knowing, almighty, and one who protects the entire creation, and he is residing in each and every living being. Sarvasya Prabhava Apyayau hi Bhutanam. One who is the, the, the being of all entire origination, one who is the place of everything get merged. So we already saw that. So this entity will not get touched by any experiences of waking state, any experiences of dream state, or the deep sleep. This entity will be the witness of all these three states. Witness never get touched by the incidents occurring in each and every states, correct? So this entity is Sarvajnaham. But in practical, I know that I am not all-knowing entity. I only know about my body and my what I have studied, which is my field, everything. When I say all-knowing, not in terms of creation, not in terms of names and forms, If I ask you anything about pediatric, you may not know. If I ask anything about an ortho or a dance, we don't know. And it's not the subject which we are studying, not from the standpoint of creation. From the standpoint of the content of creation, I am talking about, okay? If you come to know the entire pot world is staying by clay, you are an all-knowing regarding the pot world, correct? Each and every pot is sustained by clay. You know now, clay is the sustainer of every pot. So from the standpoint of the sustainer, you are all knowing now. Sarvajnaha. I know what is the content of each and every pot. So that the whole topic should be understood from the standpoint of the sustainer of this universe, or the content of the universe, the essence of the universe. When we say that, when we say like this, it's very easy to grasp the meaning of Sarvajnaha, all knowing. In terms of names and forms, I may be ignorant because I don't know. This flower is called a trumpet vine. This flower is called jasmine. This flower is called lily. This flower is called orchid. I don't have any idea. But from the standpoint of each name and form are sustained by one single content called the consciousness Brahman, then you are all knowing. I am talking from that topic only. In terms of the content of each and every name and form, that consciousness is called Sarvajnaha. Now, Sarvasya Prabhava Apyayauhi Bhutana. Now, Adi Shankara presents the kārikā written by Gaudapada Acharya. Like, Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad have only 12 verses. In order to explain the whole entire verses, Adi Shankara's Guru Govinda Bhagavat Pada and his Guru Gaudapada Acharya has written almost 300 to 350 verses. And we call it kārikā, Māṇḍūkya kārikā, explaining what is Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad. This is the beauty of Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad. When we study Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad, it has only 12 verses. Along with the kārikā, it becomes one of the best text to study in one's life, one who is pursuing spirituality. Mumukshunam Māṇḍūkyam eva alam. For the spiritual seeker, if they study under a proper traditional guru, Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad, that itself is enough to reach the goal. So from here onwards, we have completed almost 6th verse of Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad. Here onwards, slowly we will start the connecting verses of Māṇḍūkya kārikā. Māṇḍūkya kārikā have 4 chapters, and we will start the first verse of the Māṇḍūkya kārikā. Okay. And this kārikā got a name called Agama Prakaranam. In Sanskrit, Agama means Vedas. Supportive Vedic sentences are brought into analyze the whole session which we have gone through in Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad. What are the essential sentences which are talking about the topic told in the Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad? That is being discussed by the Gaudapada Acharya. He has written verses in the base of these Vedic sentences. That's why Agama Prakarana. The Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad getting justified, supported by the Agama sentences, Vedic sentences. Remember, this is not Vedas. This is written by an individual called Gaudapada Acharya, a traditional teacher called Gaudapada. So this will get a name called Gaudapadiya kārikā, a treatise, a simple booklet which is talking about the relevance of Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad and its subject. So the entire topic will be the same topic of Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad. So Gaudapada kārikā's first chapter is called Agama Prakaranam, and we will be studying the Agama Prakarana for a length of time. When it ends, the second chapter of the Gaudapada kārikā starts. It will have another name, and I will mention you the second section. Now we will start Agama Prakarana. Remember, Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad is not completed, but connected verses are being analyzed by the commentator Adi Shankara. So we will also go according to the tradition. After the sixth verse, few slokas, few verses from the first chapter of Gaudapada kārikā is being commented by Adi Shankara. We will go through these verses. I will read the first verse, okay? Bahishprajño vipurvishvaha ki antःprajñah tu taijasaha ghanaprajñah tata prajñah eka eva tritha smritaha. For the beginners, I suggest just listen for time being. Anything in the beginning seems to be difficult. Even while you are studying for walking, how to walk, when you are a kid, you feel very difficult, but you hold on the wall, you hold to take a support, and you slowly walk. Now you can walk properly through roads, through cities, through bridges, even through a small path, So everything seems to be difficult from the beginning. We need only sustaining power to go through the studies every week continuously. This is the braveness of a person. This is the brave to show from your side, whether you understood or not, the things will come into more clear in the coming classes. If you understood partially, no problem. It will be completely clear in the next class. So be a stable person while attending the classes. Every class will contribute you certain ideas which will be helpful in your practical life. Apart from its spiritual vision, there is something to say for each and every Upanishad verses. It will help you in your life by practically applying these tattvas, these logics which are presented in our Vedanta or Upanishad. So stay tuned. I will read once more this shloka. Bahishprajño vipurvishvaha ki antःprajñastu taijasaha ghanaprajñastada prajñah eka eva tritha smritaha. Before analyzing this verse, I want to say you something. Whatever ideas we are analyzing from the standpoint of an individual and the three states appearing for an individual, the same idea will be extended for the totality, for analyzing the totality, for the cosmic also. Again, I will repeat. We are analyzing an individual who is going through three different states, correct? In three different states, the entity got different three names. This idea is from the standpoint of an individual. Adhyatmika, from the standpoint of an individual. The same idea will be extended and it will be same when it comes to the cosmic or the totality. Adi Daivika. So there, in the cosmic, in the totality, there is an origination of creation. There is a sustenance of creation. There is an end for all the creation. Almost all religions believe this. This is what I meant in terms of totality or cosmic. As though when we start our day, that's called creation in the waking state. And after that, I imagine what are the things to be done in the morning while sleeping or while I get some rest by giving some rest for my senses, which are karmendriya and jnanendriya, senses of knowledge and senses of actions. Eyes, ears are not working, but I am just laying down and I think myself what to do tomorrow, and I keep planning about the things in the morning. But everything goes inside my mind. This is called a dream state, almost. And there are things which I don't plan also see in the dream state exactly. For the time being, your planning is also a dream state. May you understand that. So as an individual, I go through the sustenance. This is called dream state when I plan sustenance. And also completely I merge all my ideas in the deep sleep state, correct? I don't think about anything externally or I don't think with my mind. I don't do any action externally. Yatra kamam kamayate. There is no desirable objects or my desires. Yatra kinchit na pashyati. Nothing I don't see in the deep sleep, dream state. There, whatever ideas I have, like Vishwaha, Taijasaha, Prajnaha, same like an individual, the entire universe will also go through an experience called origination, sustenance, and merging resolution. There also, the entity which appears as the form of originator is called Virat. And after that, one who sustains the entire creation, he will also get a name called Hiranyagarbha. And also after merging everything without losing its characteristics, it gets the name called Ishvaraha when in the form of totality. Okay, so this idea should be extended from the individual to the totality. There the names will be different. When it appears, when the entity appears in the individual, it gets the name Vishwaha or Vaishwanaraha, Taijasaha, Prajnaha. When the entity appears in whole totality, it gets the name Virat. And when it sustains everything, Hiranyagarbha, when it resolves, merge everything, the entire creation, when it gets merged, it gets the name Ishvaraha. So may you keep in the mind. Suppose if you say, I didn't get anything, Swamiji, don't worry. I have to explain. It's my duty. If you don't get, you can go through again and again through these classes in the YouTube and get the idea. Even if you don't get the idea, come to the next class. When you go through the classes, you will get the idea. Everybody is like that only. From the nursery classes onwards, we get the idea of the 8th standard when we go to the 9th or 10th standard, correct? Similarly, everything have its own time to bloom. So I just put the seeds in your mind. Now it will take time to bloom for few. It will take only very less time for others. No problem. Just go through that. Okay. So I am going to explain this verse, what we have gone through. Bahishpraknyaha vibhur vishwaha. The vishwaha, the person who enjoy the external world and objects in the waking state, he is only enjoying the external object and the waking state. He will not enter into the deep sleep or dream state. Bahishpraknya, his consciousness is extroverted, spreading externally to watch everything externally, to see the birds, to see the mountains, to see the trees, everything externally. Bahishpraknya. That person, from that person, the consciousness will flow through the senses towards the respective objects and comes into contact, and all the things are put inside the mind. The informations are handed over towards the mind. We know that a desirable object is there in front of me. My senses will go towards that object, and I enjoy the object, and the carbon copy of that whole enjoyment and the process will be kept inside my mind. This will become the material for the dream. These impressions, these experiences, all my ambitions will become the material for the dream. So, Bahishpraknyaha Vibhuhu, one who goes to the external world and enjoy the things, his name is Vibhuhu. His name is Vishwaha. And he enjoy only the external world with his senses. And he spread the entire external world. And he antah prajnaha tu taijasaha. Antah prajnaha. One who illuminate inside only the body or inside the mind. He is called taijasaha. We already saw all these things in the previous classes, but kārikā starts in the same method only. Antah prajna, one who eliminates the entire inner world in the subject-object division. He is called Taijasaha. The person who appears while the waking state, inside the waking state, he is called Vishwaha, one who experiences the inner world, creating the subject-object division, and his name is called Taijasaha. And one who merges all these two states, the experiences in the waking state, the experiences of the dream state, everything get merged completely without losing any characteristics. That's why when I wake up, I remember my booked ticket. I remember my lota, the pot. I remember my vehicle. I remember my name without losing our characteristics. Everything get merged inside the deep sleep state. This is something very important. The subject object division being not being there is an absence of worries and there is an absence of sorrows. It's only a suspension of the sorrows or the suspension of the worries, not the dismissal of any sorrows for permanent. A temporary happiness is gained as though in the deep sleep state, but it's temporary. When you wake up, all the worries will come inside the mind. And you have to deal with all the problems externally also. But in the deep sleep, there is no division due to the envelope of the darkness. There is a dukkha abhavaha. There is an absence of sorrows, which is temporary. Because there is no subject-object division, there is only ignorance. I am not knowing anything. I just slept. Even I don't know I have a body, I have senses, etc., etc. I am completely unaware of my everything about my creation. I am unaware of my car. I am unaware of the place where I am sleeping. I am unaware of my body. Suppose if I got a cut in my hand while cutting the vegetables, I am unaware of my cut. That's why I don't have pain while sleeping. Correct? So it's all temporary. The removal of the sorrow in temporary method, deep sleep or take some alcohol. That's all. People used to take alcohol for temporary relief, correct? It is much less similar to deep sleep. Anyway, so the consciousness which appears inside the waking state and enjoy the external object is called Vishwaha or Vibhuhu. The consciousness which appears inside the dream state and enjoys the internal world, creating a subject-object divisions in the form of different thoughts, is called Taijasaha. And the person who appears as the witness of entire absence of subject-object division, still there is a witness for this. This person who is witnessing the absence of subject-object division is called prajnaha. This prajnaha is the same person who appeared in the dream Taijasaha. This Taijasaha being the same person who appeared inside the waking state, who were called in the name of Vishwaha. So, one single entity appearing in three different states, having three different names, are the one and only entity to be understood, even though we go through the different experiences in this world through different states. Ekaha eva. He is single. He is one who appears in three different states in three different names. And his name is being elaborated in the coming verses, only to make you understand Gaudapada Acharya says that the Taijasaha is equal to Prajnaha, the Prajnaha is equal to Vishwaha. All these three names are nothing for one single entity. Ekaha eva tritha smritaha. This is the entire meaning of this verse. Now, I will just give you a hint of the meaning of the second verse, but we will elaborate in the next class. But I will read and give you simple meaning of the verse. Dakshinakshi mukhe vishvaha manasyantastu taijasaha akashe cha hriti prajnaha tritha dehe vyavastitaha. Again I will read. Dakshinakshi mukhe vishvaha manasyantastu taijasaha Akashe chahriti prajnaha tritha dehe vyavastitaha. Now, we got an idea from the previous kārikā. Each and every verse will be called kārikā. Don't get any misunderstanding. Every verse will get a technical name called kārikā because it's written by a traditional teacher called Gaudapada Acharya. So in his name only, these entire verses which are explaining the Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad will be known. Māṇḍūkya kārikā. So every verse will get a name called kārikā, and I will interact with you that this kārikā, this verse, this kārikā talks about the places where it is residing in our body, in the Vishwaha, Taijasaha, and the Prajnaha. One single entity who appeared in three different states and having three different forms are residing in our body in three different places. Where is the Vishwaha residing in our body? Dakshinakshi mukhe, in the right eye of in our face. We have two eyes, one in the right and other is in the left. In the right eye, the Vishwaha resides. Whatever entity we saw while the waking state is dealing with the external object, that entity is residing in our right eye. The right eye is the representation of the entire senses, because it's not talking about the right eye. The right eye is equal to entire senses, 5 senses of knowledge and 5 senses of actions. And manasi antastu vishvaha. The vishvaha, manasi antastu taijasa. In the mind, individual mind. Mind is equal to series of thoughts. In the mind, the Taijasaha resides. One who appears in the dream state will reside or resides in the manas, the mind of an individual. And in the space of heart, Hridi Akashe, there is a space which is unlimited inside our heart. There is a space inside our mind which is unlimited. That's why unlimited thoughts are coming daily in our mind. Hridaya Akasham, very famous for the people who have studied different Upanishads. or for the beginners, I will mention you more and more in coming classes. For the time being, you understand there is a space which is inside the heart. That space is unlimited, like our external space, which can hold any kind of experiences, any kind of thoughts, and which can produce number of thoughts and number of experiences. In that space of heart, Hridaya Akashe Prajnaha, the entity which appeared in the form of a witness of deep sleep state. So, three different places are given for the sake of systematic study, and these three entities are residing in an individual, the Vishwaha in the right eye, and the Taijasaha inside the mind, and the Prajnaha, the ignorant witness, one who knows there is a state going on without knowing anything. That witness, who is called Prajnaha, resides in the space which obtains inside the heart, which is unlimited. Dehe Vyavasthidaha. They stay properly inside an individual. There is a good explanation by the commentator Adi Shankara, which we will see in our next class. Om Sasti Prajabhya Paripalayandam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shupamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshadu Parchanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shadini Desho Parahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Satoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amatamgamaya Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamutachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om